Violence matters to children. We know that because half of all teenage children change their behaviour because of the fear of violence. But how much violence actually is there? Well, today we're answering that question. The Youth Endowment Fund is launching a landmark, authoritative report laying out what levels of violence do we have in this country for children and young people, and how has it changed over the last decade. I'm afraid there's quite a bit of bad news in it. First of all, we know that children are more likely to be murdered than they were 10 years ago. Numbers remain low, but this is tragic. We also know that serious injuries have become more common for children. And the second thing is we know that violence is not evenly distributed. A black child growing up in Britain is 6 times more likely to be murdered than the average child. That can't be right. And then the final bit of bad news is the services that should be keeping vulnerable children safe have become less able to do it. Funding to youth services has significantly reduced. The police have become less good at solving crimes, and children are more likely to be missing from school, more likely to end up in care, and more likely to be living in absolute poverty. Now that's quite bleak, but there is some grounds for hope. The first is, it looks like we might have hit the bottom of this crisis. Over the last 2 or 3 years, things have started to get a little bit better. The number of children dying is reducing a bit. The number of serious injuries are coming down. And most importantly, on top of that, is we increasingly know what it is that works to keep children safe. Working with partners, we at the Youth Endowment Fund can now lay out, and you can find it, just search YEF Toolkit, the things that really make a difference, like mentoring, like therapy, like police being regularly present and knowing the community in key places. But look, we've got to change things for children. That's why we at the Youth Endowment Fund are committed to finding out what works and building a movement with you to change things. So look, download the report, find out what's really going on in our country, join us, and let's try and make sure that every child growing up in Britain lives a life free from violence.